Good morning. Hope everyone's doing well. Let me get these live streams set up and we'll be good to go. We're live twice, so that's a good start. YouTube always picks this really old thumbnail I had a really long time ago. It's pretty funny to see it pop back up. All right. RPM, Mr. All In, Linda, RPM, Marco, Sooner. Hope everyone's doing well. Just finishing setting up everything on the back end. We should be good in a moment. A lot of Hurricane Milton talk on the news right now, but there was a lot of XRP news over the past couple of days as well. So we have a bunch to jump into. Bunch of new subscribers too. I can see him up top. Theo, L, SMB, Dave Nelson, good to see you. Tomato Pete, RPM, Keith, good morning, bro. Good to see you. Bruce, Sensational Lady, Mark Lama. One of the funny things is there's a bunch of people like Sensational Lady. I don't know Sensational Lady. I would assume Sensational Lady is in fact a female. But I do have a lot of people who come on here and they're like, oh yeah, like my wife made my YouTube account. So like I'm a dude. And they're like, my name is this, which is pretty funny. Adam, good to see you, brother. Hope you're doing well. XRP Etf still coming in hot despite the SEC appeal. Great to see. Somewhat surprising, honestly. I was wondering if a lot of these institutions would walk back the ETF that they were filing, but it looks like they're still going for it and saying, look, XRP is not a security. We really don't care what the SEC has to say. So that's really good to see. Roger here. Good morning, Roger. Good to see you. And Adam, thank you for becoming a member. Guys, if you're getting here early on X, exit out of the live chat. Drop a quick like on the stream for me. If you are over on X, I should be live on X right now. Let me double check. Yes, I am. If you're over on X, drop a retweet. A bunch of people have been, a bunch of people follow you guys. You don't follow me yet, and you guys retweeting will allow all those people to see the stream. Hopefully bring more of them in. Oh, Sensational Lady, thank you so much. Really appreciate you sticking around, and yeah, that's awesome to hear. Love the OGs. I can tell when someone's an OG because they'll bring up something crazy I did in like one of my early videos. And they'll be like, yeah, I remember when you did this. I'm like, oh no, yeah, you are early. Alex, good to see you, man. Dude, thanks for stopping by. Appreciate you and all you did for the early days of the XRP community, man. We I don't know if I even want to tell you this, but I showed my stream one of your first video. I think it was literally your first video ever on YouTube the other day. I don't think I ever told you that, but it's one of my favorite videos. To see you at that age really understanding XRP at such a high level is incredible. So exposed you a bit, but everyone loved it, and I think everyone was like extremely impressed with your knowledge of XRP before most people even understood what the cryptocurrency was. So congrats to you, man. You really are an OG here. Mike should be fixed now. Mike should be fixed. Yeah, Alex, I'm the same way, but that video in particular hits different, man. That video in particular hits different. That's a great video. That is a great video. You should be proud of that one. That's going to go down one day as a legendary video. Mike is up. Mike is up. Mike is up. Sorry about that. Yep. No. Thank you. Thank you. No, I appreciate people telling me. Trust me, man. With the amount of dials and knobs and who else knows what else is going on over here, you lose track of what you turned up, what's not turned up. So Let's go over some of the news that hit last night. There were some very nice things. We'll go over the XRP ETF first. It's fairly standard. But Canary Capital is actually...
Is it that regulators are so good at fighting?
Gotta mute CNBC in the background real quick. Yeah, so Canary Capital looks like they are going forward with their ETF, which is great to see. Good night, Alex. Thanks for stopping by, brother. Yeah, so the first ETF filed was the Bitwise one. Now we have Canary, which looks like a split off of the Valkyrie funds. These are two fairly big players, right? These are not two nobodies. These are two people who are pretty well established. Where's the coffee/wine? Oh, we got it. We got it. We got the morning coffee. This morning it looks like a Guinness. Zay Crypto, thank you for becoming a member, man. Appreciate that a lot. Thank you. And we got a lot of member-only live streams coming as well. We switched up the time. It's still taking people. We're building up a new audience who's around for these early morning streams. So a lot of people who used to come later in the day, we miss you a lot. So Kawaii Girl, massive shout out to you. I know you've been missing out on these streams, and I apologize for that. But hopefully when we get some XRP price action, we get some later in the day XRP pump streams as well. Oh, ThinkSpace. Yeah. Did anyone watch that Satoshi interview? Did anyone watch that Satoshi documentary? Audio in and out? Couldn't be, but if it is, let me know. Test. Yeah, looks like it should be good on my end. I've been watching my videos for a while. Oh, I appreciate that, Say. Really do. Yeah, don't be shy. Go and smash that like button. It's the only way we build up these streams, get more people in here, get some momentum, teach more people about the XRP community. So it helps tremendously. And trust me, man, I wish I didn't have to be constantly saying it, but that's how you get people in the live stream. All good? Okay, good. So HBO was good? Was it a good documentary? Do I have to watch it or... Awesome, good. Who watched the documentary? Vegas Andrew. Yeah, 5:15 is about the earliest. Like, I'm on the East Coast, so the East Coast gets a big advantage on the rest of the day. Headbutt the like button. Yeah, I like that. Smash your head into it. A lot of talk about Ozempic this morning on CNBC. You're famous in the Netherlands, Mickle. Interesting. I do have a decent amount of followers from the Netherlands, which is cool. I wasn't expecting that. All right, here's a pretty interesting note right here. This right here is a MicroStrategy against Bitcoin. And what you can see is MicroStrategy is actually significantly outperforming Bitcoin here, which is a really good sign because it shows we actually have potential for a Bitcoin breakout. So Bitcoin itself hasn't yet broken out, but MicroStrategy is breaking out. If MicroStrategy is a leading indicator here, which it has been before in the past, it means we're probably pretty close to that Bitcoin breakout we've been waiting for, which on the other side of this obviously gets us a lot closer to that XRP move we've also been waiting for. So a really good sign on that MicroStrategy piece. I thought that was pretty interesting. Yeah, XRP always makes its move. It always takes a bit longer than anyone wants, but XRP always comes in and makes that move ultimately. So I'm not worried about XRP not making a move. I'm not worried about the SEC appeal slowing things down. To me, it will all come in due time, and we'll be patient, and we'll come out on the other side of this as winners. Oh, John Deaton's going to be at the Boston premiere? Might have to make my way over. My brother lives in Boston. My brother lives in Boston. I'll come out with him. So probably the Boston premiere. If John Deaton's there, I'll go out to Boston. I'll bring my brother. If anyone wants to stop by in Boston and come meet us, that'd be a lot of fun. Lily stock going nuts. Trizippa by I know how to say that. Trazit. I can't say it. Especially not on this back, but they're not giving it to regular people anymore. Interesting. Heard newbies who are pumping MicroStrategy. I think a lot of MicroStrategy is actually coming from pretty big institutions, to be honest with you. A lot of institutions who want to invest in Bitcoin can't, but they'll invest in MicroStrategy instead. That's why the XRP ETFs are so important. Is my brother into crypto? My brother owns XRP because of me. And other than that, he does not really understand crypto. Very smart kid, though. Very smart kid. He'll likely be, I'm sure he'll get into investing in crypto on his own time, but he's not into it. He holds some XRP. Actually, he held XRP, funny enough, in a wallet that stopped supporting XRP. So he had to actually go and get his seed phrase, type it into a new wallet. It was pretty funny watching someone who's never navigated that before. He's like, all my money's gone. And I was like, all right, we'll get it back. Boston area. I live in North Boston. Yeah, I like Boston a lot. He's in Southie, so I go and visit him. We go out. It's a good time. Yeah, how's Florida looking? And nothing till later today, right? What if Trump is anti-Ripple? I don't think Trump's anti-Ripple. I mean, the good news is Trump has watched how anti-Ripple the Democrats have been, so he might be pro-Ripple just to get on the other side of that. It's the way politics works nowadays, huh? Something else very interesting that happened the other day. Before we get into that, guys, make sure to take a quick second, exit out of the live chat, drop that like on the stream. If you're watching me on X, really appreciate you watching me there. Drop a retweet. Retweet on X helps a ton, gets more people to see the stream. And if you enjoy what you're seeing, make sure to sub. Would love to have you guys here more often. Crypto View, I stopped suggesting XRP after 2018. All my friends hate me for it. Well, they'll hate you on the other side as well, too. When XRP goes up and there's price appreciation, then they'll hate you again. So they'll double hate you. So there's no winning. I only talk about XRP to people who want to know about it. If someone comes to me with the interest in learning about cryptocurrency, I'll talk their ear off. If I'm out with people and no one cares, then fine by me. You know, that's the nice thing about the YouTube channel for me. It's like I get all my XRP talk and all my crypto talk out in the morning. I talk about people with crypto with people throughout the entire day. So by the time the night comes around, it's like the last thing I want to talk about is more crypto. So that's what I would suggest to people, though. If people are interested, tell them. If they're not, they're not. They're either going to figure it out on their own or they're not. And you can't really convince someone to understand it. Very few people will understand it when you try to convince them. Most people need to go find it themselves. And when they find it themselves, they build that deep appreciation for the asset class and they build that conviction. But without that conviction, you're never going to make it. You can't rely on someone else's conviction. Tomato Pete says, my family thinks crypto is monopoly money. Funny enough, so my mom doesn't understand crypto at all. My dad is a mortgage broker for the Virgin Islands. He understands crypto very well because he's constantly moving money from bank to bank. And it's so funny. He always comes to me. He's like, I don't understand why not everyone's using this XRP thing. He's like, it's a no-brainer. He's like, why would anyone not use it? So he holds XRP. He understands crypto. He's got some Bitcoin. He gets it, but I don't think he he's not like as much of an investor as I am. So he gets it. I just don't know if he's like, he's not as active into it. I've got a couple people in my life who like funny. Like I had an ex-girlfriend who held XRP, and just cause of me, and then we broke up and I ran back into her. She's like, yeah, still holding the XRP, and I was laughing. I was like, wow. Like, all right, good for you. Oh, she said she bought more. I got Luna Classic before XRP. Interesting. It's funny how people find XRP. I'm curious, did anyone in this stream right now, let me know, has anyone in this stream, did they know about XRP? No, sorry, let me rephrase that. Did they find me before they knew about XRP? Is there anyone in here who it was because of me talking about XRP, they learned about XRP? Sunday Slide, good luck, man. Prayers out to you. Linda said I recruited 20 people to buy. Good for you, Linda. Good for you. Abs, good to see you. Dude, I love my live streams. Everyone stops by. Everyone stops by. We had Alex Cobb earlier. Now we got Abs stopping by. Got to get Jungle Inc. back in here, and got to get Crypto Eddie back in here. We'll make it's like a meet and greet. People just stop by. They say hi. Abs, great to see you, man. I'll be back on Good Morning Crypto soon. My week this week is pretty whack. Won't be able to get on this week, but maybe at some point next week I can jump back on. Everyone loves it though, Apps. Everyone goes crazy when I go on Good Morning Crypto. People love it. Oh, Adam, cool. Awesome. Oh, I appreciate that, Abs. Here, guys, here's something else interesting. This came out last night. First streamer I got into is Alex Cobb in 2017. He was a young guy at the time. Lived with his parents. I lived with my parents when I first started. I don't think a lot of people knew it, but when my first couple videos, like, I was living with my parents as well. I was just like, I didn't even think I was going to get any views. I was just like, hey. Oh yeah, Jungle is on the West Coast. That's all right. We'll have late night live streams as well later on. It's just that there's not a lot of price action to watch right now. So hey, there's some people on the West Coast in here. Trust me, I know. Oh, cool. I love hearing people's stories about how they found XRP. It's always so interesting. Everyone kind of has their, funny enough, like my dad is the one who taught me about XRP. Not actually. He's the one who brought up the idea of investing into XRP for me. And I was like, huh? Like, what do you know about XRP? He's like, I don't know. He's like, it's just on crypto. He's like, it's just on Coinbase. He's like, I thought it was cool. And I was like, all right, man. Like, take a look at this thing for you. And then I think I looked at it, and then I came across a couple Kevin Cage videos, and I think I came across a couple Kevin Cage videos, I think some Moon Lambo videos, and then I started digging myself into it. It probably took me like 2 years before I started to understand it. It takes a while before you really get it. And even then, like, I understand like the theory very well about XRP, but even the tech side of things is still like, that's where I need to get a bit stronger. Cool, let's jump into something else interesting. This was from the Qatar National Bank. So, guys, lots of people will FUD that banks aren't using XRP, but in a recent press announcement, we see that the Qatar National Bank is actually praising their award-winning approach to cross-border payments, in which we have Ripple as directly part of that. This picture is a little fuzzy. I might be able to zoom in on this to get Ripple actually in here. Yeah, cross-border payments on RippleNet. So very interesting to see here, Qatar actually praising Ripple as part of their strategy for cross-border payments. And this is coming from the Bank of Qatar. So it comes back to one of those things. It's like people will constantly FUD and say banks aren't using XRP. To me, it seems fairly obvious the banks are using XRP, and now they're actually calling it an award-winning strategy. On top of that, too, it hasn't only been that. We actually got another interesting development here. I actually had a bit of a back and forth with someone about this, so we'll go back to the back and forth. Bill Morgan. Bill Morgan is someone I've had a bit of a back and forth with here on X. Just pushing back on something he'd said a bit ago. He said he didn't care about Ripple. He said he didn't care about banks working with Ripple, which I thought was interesting. I'm like, well, banks are Ripple's biggest customer base, right? We want banks to be using XRP, but I let it go. It's in response to this. So Juniper Research actually listed Ripple as the best cross-border payments platform. Interesting. I would love to know more about who was in this, but I can almost guarantee you this comprised of people like R3, the Consensus. Those are normally the players who are involved in these kinds of things. It looks like Ripple got the award-winning best cross-border payments platform. Good to see. Does this mean what it means is that it's validation that Ripple's got a great product, so that's good. Interestingly enough, commenting on this was Bill throwing shade at scams, and he said, "How did Lightning go?" I thought it was kind of funny because like this product, right, is obviously tailored towards banks. So I said, "I thought you didn't care about Ripple," and he said, "Didn't say that at all. I said I don't. I said not know or care whether Ripple is working with banks. It's like I like its payments product though." I said, "Considering banks are one of Ripple's main target customers for the payments product, it seems logical to care about the adoption among its largest customer set." And he said, I don't care at the moment about Ripple working with banks, and I don't know what they are doing with banks. I like Ripple's payment product because it shows XRP has utility. Whether or not banks are using it, adoption by banks is just not particularly important to me." So interesting back and forth. I don't really understand like this whole like weird like, hey, I don't care about Ripple stuff. To me, it doesn't make any sense. Like Ripple is so important to the XRP ledger. It's like, I don't understand why people have this weird like anti-Ripple stance in the XRP, but whatever. So no one watched the HBO documentary? I'm not hearing a lot of people say that. From Quebec City. Awesome. It won't let you super chat? Well, I appreciate you trying, man. I don't know why I wouldn't be letting you. My entire streaming thing has been kind of whack recently. It seems like I'm being shadow banned to some sense, and that's why I really appreciate all of you who go out and share these streams and support these streams, because there's no doubt in my mind that I am shadow banned to a certain degree. I always thought Satoshi was Mr. Bean. Okay, you did think space, great historic Bitcoin and industry. Okay, cool. I'm glad it was good. Wasn't sure how they represented the industry or anything like that. Oh, interesting. Okay. Interesting, Walled Gardner. I don't care who Satoshi is. Yeah, I mean, I think it is important that we eventually do find out who Satoshi is, but I don't think it really hurts Bitcoin that much. I think it's interesting that people have pretended for so long that we don't know who Satoshi is. Like, obviously, at some point, we're going to figure out who Satoshi is. I want to take a quick look at Bitcoin. XRP is kind of just trading sideways on the bottom support line. We've taken a lot of looks at it. And if you're on the vertical stream, you're probably seeing that right now. Bitcoin, US dollar. Yeah, so Bitcoin's in a bit of a precarious spot here. Let me so take a look at Bitcoin here. Bitcoin is got it kind of getting rejected despite the MicroStrategy thing we talked about earlier. Oh, DRM, thank you. As you can see, Bitcoin is getting rejected as it has earlier. Right off this top resistance line. We got to see a breakthrough there. I know Firedog has thrown out his predictions kind of for how we get out, but in my opinion, this is the most important thing in the market right now in terms of finally getting to some progress on the price appreciation standpoint. Bitcoin's just been stuck for such a long time at the 62 range. David Schwartz is Satoshi. He could be part of it. From what I'm understanding, this HBO documentary claimed to know who it was and then kind of just said, oh, it might be this person. So I think it was more of a marketing thing to get people to watch than any real, hey, we know what's actually happening here. I'm checking out the news real quick, just making sure we're not missing anything here. Lost me. Huh. Did I freeze or did the screen go black? Oh, huh. I wonder what happened. Maybe just a Wi-Fi spike. Not going to watch the Bitcoin documentary. NSA equals Satoshi. Brian, thank you for doing that. I appreciate that. Brian says, make sure to smash the like button. Yeah, guys, make sure to do that. We almost have 1,000 people in here. Would love to get to 1,000. So appreciate everyone doing the extra effort to make sure this live stream gets seen. Really does help a lot. Do you chart analysis XRP USDC? Yeah, but there's just not much that going on. So we can take a look at that real quick. This is really what we're watching on XRP. Zoom out, we can see we're just really just continuing to consolidate here. We're at the end of this thing. We should be getting a breakout to the downside or upside at some point soon. But just at the moment, it doesn't really look like we're close to both. Technically, we could be close to a breakdown, but not too worried about a breakdown here on XRP. If anything was going to cause XRP to break down, it would have been that appeal news, and we wouldn't have consolidated here. We clearly found support, and now I know it's what no one wants to hear, but I mean, what I see happening outside of Bitcoin doing a massive move is XRP just moving more towards the middle here and trading sideways ultimately until we can test this again. I don't know if there'll be a catalyst at that point. I don't know if something could happen with the new SEC chair coming in and changing things. I have no idea, but when you're doing chart analysis, does it take into account massive utility? No, definitely not. Definitely not. It's you can't chart something that's never happened before. All we can do is take a look at the chart and try to guess what's going to happen in the future based off what's happened before in the past. But you can't chart utility. Like no one can. If someone's telling you they can, they're making it up. No one has any idea of what utility looks like. Now you can make estimations on, hey, what could XRP's price based off this volume coming into the asset be because of payments? But it's really hard to accurately predict that because we have no idea what's going to happen. If we just take a look at what happened in the XRP price chart before, we can see XRP made this massive parabolic move in 2017 that no one would have ever forecasted, and this was pre-utility. So could post-utility do something even more parabolic? Could post-utility make XRP go up even higher to maybe this $100 mark? If we take a look and just compare the charts and we draw a line and compare if XRP was to do something similar with utility, we can see we easily get to pretty absurdly high prices. We get to like the $400 to $500 mark. And that's just XRP doing something very similar than it's done before. Will utility make this go higher? Will it not? Like, that's the question. I don't know if anyone can properly chart that. But on a more zoomed in standpoint, right, just taking a closer look at this, right now, in my opinion, it's just another big waiting game until we finally get to a point where we're ready to consider breaking out again. It could happen faster than I think, for sure, but it's not the most interesting time in the world on the XRP price chart, unfortunately. I love how these ETF filings are coming in after the appeal and saying we don't care about you stifling Ripple. XRP isn't a security. Approve this S1. Absolutely, Taylor. I completely agree. It's a shot at the SEC for sure. The SEC, I don't think, is happy with releasing these, and I'm surprised these companies are doing it anyway. Probably because what we've talked about before is like a lot of these companies just want to beat BlackRock in. They don't want BlackRock to keep eating their lunch. I don't mind a $500 XRP. Yeah, I don't think anyone would. Big announcement on China tonight, boosting the economy. Yeah, China putting stimulus in will help. We really are moving into a liquidity cycle that is going to be very good for a lot of different assets. And China being more loose with their monetary policy just shows the global trend that we're seeing right now, which is to looser monetary policy. But it is nice to see the entire world. Yep, elections are going to make this entire thing. Wow, it's crazy that the elections are this close. Yeah, that's insane. That's insane. We got the John Deaton debate coming up too. That's on the 17th. Really excited for that one. That's going to be fun to live stream, man. Some live streams I get really excited for. Oh, I know what you're talking about. Appreciate that, Roger. Yeah, guys, this is pretty exciting. Roger, thank you very much for reminding me on this. They're completing... Yeah, the FTX payout's interesting, right? Because they're getting cash that they can then rebuy cryptocurrencies with. I'm getting a healthy paycheck back from the FTX news through BlockFi. How's that work, Taylor? Were you on BlockFi and were impacted by FTX? Oh, okay. But am I wrong? I thought BlockFi was fine. I thought they just had to leave the United States. Or did BlockFi use use FTX? Oh, okay. Interesting. Yeah, what a crap show that was. I can't believe how quickly the industry recovered from that happening. I mean, honestly, things looked bad for a while. Over 1,000 people watching the stream. Appreciate you guys all so much. You guys are incredible. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Love being able to get on here every morning and just break down the news with you guys. So much fun. BlockFi got acquired by FTX. Oh. Yeah, I do remember that now. I forgot about that. Interesting. Okay. Here's the news brought to us by Roger. Roger, appreciate you showing this. A lot of people had concerns about how RLUSD wouldn't be able to be used in the AMM. But it looks like there's an amendment being proposed right now to actually use RLUSD and other tokens with clawbacks enabled on them in the automated market maker. So this is a pretty big step in making it so that moving forward, RLUSD will be able to directly impact the price of XRP. Because the more RLUSD minted and then enters these pools, the more and more value that will be posted against XRP, and it will suck up more XRP off exchanges and bringing it into the automated market maker, where it locks it up for significant periods of time. Oh, wow. That's crazy. Taylor, I kind of forgot about that whole storyline, but you're so right. Yeah, so BlockFi was going under, and then Sam was essentially like, oh, here's a bunch of free crypto. We'll just take all these customer assets and then threw them into the Ponzi. Yep, Roger, it does look like Jungle was wrong. So, look, Jungle gets a free pass, man. Jungle can get some stuff wrong, but it was always so obvious he was going to be wrong. I think Jungle just wanted things to happen sooner than they were going to. He wanted it to be like instantaneously, oh, it's ready to go in, but it wasn't. So, I don't know. Bitcoin is not doing great things right now. Bitcoin is selling off a bit. Mick, thoughts on the possibility of the SEC withdrawing the appeal? I don't know. I would think it's probably not likely. I would say it's probably not likely, but what in this case has been likely, so I don't want to completely discredit it. I think there's a better chance that we get a new administration and then the SEC at that point has a new director and then they settle the case. I think that's probably the most likely way this case doesn't move forward. Love Jungle, but he's always the contrarian. Yeah, Jungle was even the contrarian when John Deaton got in the case. He thought it was like a bad thing. So, I mean, what I love about Jungle is what his response for it, because he was getting crap, was, yep, I was wrong. It won't be the first time, or it wasn't the first time. It won't be the last, or something like that, which I respect that a lot, right? Like, you could admit you were wrong. I'm like, I got no problems. I got no problems. Admit you're wrong and move on. That's not an easy thing for a lot of people to do. If the SEC was going after FTX and not BlockFi, wild how much damage Gary has done. Yeah, that it's insane, Taylor. Yeah, I mean, and they've wasted so much time going after people like Coinbase and Ripple. Like, Coinbase and Ripple are the people they've been attacking. Any SEC news? No, we probably won't find out until next week. Next week, we'll probably find out what the SEC is appealing. We did get some news from Meta Law Man last night in a clip he was on with Crypto Law. That was great. Let me see if I can pull this up. It was a great little thing, and I would love to watch it with you guys. There was definitely some great nuggets in here. Might be able to pull it. I hope they had this recorded. Cool. Just make sure we're not missing any numbers or anything. Oh, this might be interesting. I want to take a quick look at this.
Yesterday, and the stuff we were reading.
Well, there, I think there needs to be regulation. I mean, you've got hundreds of millions of kids on these platforms. I had moms in my office who had lost children because of the choking challenge online, because they're getting fentanyl online. Here, of course, you've got these video games where kids are being preyed on. There's a Kids Online Safety Act. There are only 15 members of Congress on the House who are on that bill. We've got to pass that. The Senate wants to pass it.
Why is that so hard to pass? I don't understand that.
Well, this is where I do think, you know, there's partly the lobbying that the New Yorker article mentioned. But if the guy from Silicon Valley, who's not reflexively about breaking companies up, can say, let's protect our kids, let's get the Kids Online Safety Act passed. All it says is age verification. You've got a standard to protect children. You have to make sure that you're protecting against predators.
Who is pushing back on that?
Look, I think there are some tech lobbyists who are pushing back on it, and they make.
But is that coming from Roblox? Is that coming from Meta?
No.
Who is the prime mover here?
I think there are groups that are some funded by Meta, and they make arguments that I don't think hold water. They say, well, if you're LGBTQ, you need the internet. But you know what? The bullying is more for LGBTQ kids online, 3 times than it is for non-LGBTQ kids. And all the Kids Online Safety Act is saying is age verification, protect children,
right,
make sure there's a standard of harm. So I think this is a case really where tech lobbyists need to be defeated, and let's pass the bill.
Let's get back to, we'll talk to campaign at this point. And there are, you know, competing plans for how to not kill the goose that lays the golden egg that you love so much out in Silicon Valley. And we've had some people want to make a pretty good case, Joe Lonsdale, make a pretty good, or even Elon Musk, for a light touch on regulation and taxes for the Silicon Valley titans. Do you prefer tell me the best thing Kamala Harris is proposing to help the entrepreneurs in Silicon Valley? A 28% corporate tax rate?
Well, the best thing she's proposing is massive investments in science and technology. I mean, Silicon Valley was built on the investments made by DARPA, by NIH, by NSF. A lot of the technology was commercialized. And she's saying we've got to continue to invest in this, and we've got to invest in AI and the public research on AI.
I think the government, I guess, taxing people to raise money to give to technology or to do research is better than just getting out of the way with regulations for Silicon Valley?
Well, we need sensible regulations to protect our kids.
Okay.
To make sure, look, on an AI chat GPT, you don't want someone asking that, how do you commit suicide? Make sure there's regulation. How do you make a nuclear bomb?
Why raise the tax rate to 28 and then subsidize through the government for research and development? It just you're taking away on the one hand, and then you're adding and getting the government involved on the other. Just let them do it.
This is what we've got to
let them do it at 21%.
Because you're looking at investment that's 10 years down the line. I mean, making transformative investment and change has always been something our government has been good at. And you know, our tax receipts are only 17% of GDP right now. In the 90s, when it was booming, it was around 20%. So this idea that we are overtaxed is just empirically not true.
But we also did have some record receipts this year, 11% revenues at the same time. The spending went up 11%, so that we're running a $2 trillion deficit. Do you think it makes sense to spend more than we're spending now and tax more to pay for it?
let's look at where we can bring down spending. One place is to be smarter on defense. I mean, we've got all these legacy industries, 5 prime contractors. Why don't we have some of the defense tech compete? You know, look at the F-35. Lockheed had an exclusive contract, $1.7 trillion cost overruns. We didn't let any of the startups compete. So let's look at areas where we can bring down costs. I'm all for that. We disagree on taxation. I want to tax some of these folks more.
Yeah, we've come up with the Kernan-Conner, or actually it's probably the Sorkin plan. I think you had it first. Taxing some of the loans.
I read his op-ed in the Times the last time you mentioned
it. Is that where you got it, or I thought you said it first.
I get all my ideas from other people. No, it was a reasonable plan. I said if Sorkin's for it, and
that's after you came on and said the unrealized capital gains was probably not a great position. Then you got yelled at.
Yeah, because it's not a smart position. That's not the way to go after tax.
But as a surrogate, there's a you're not supposed to come on and disagree with what you're supposed to be saying here, Ro, right?
You know, I represent the Valley, which is independent. You know, one of the things in the Valley, people say, why are some people moving away from the Democratic Party? Yeah. One of the things they value is the free exchange of ideas, where you're willing to say what you believe, where you can criticize folks and not just be party line. And I think that's what built this country, this freedom of speech. I'm much more progressive than a bunch of people who support me there, but they know I'll engage.
Man, that was good. That was a really good stump speech. Remember what you just said in case we...
No, that was good.
When we do get back to doing that, I think I could say that too.
You should. Okay, the Midwest.
That's right. Congressman, always good. Whenever you're in studio, it's good to see you too.
Great seeing you.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
We'll be right back.
Interesting. I thought we might get some crypto talk there. Rokan is pretty pro crypto, so wanted to see if we could get anything there. Adam, I don't ignore any comments. If you saw what my screen looked like, man, you would understand why I don't answer every single comment. I try to. It's just that there's like a million comments. There's like a million comments on my screen right now, and it's hard to track what every person is saying, especially when you don't repeat the question. I'm trying to scroll back here. If you repeat the question, like there's a better chance I catch it, but yeah, frozen. Mickle. Yeah, I can't even find the question. You got to repeat it, man. I got 3 streams here. I'll do my best, but do a super chat and you'll see it. That is true. Andy, I appreciate that. Yeah, I see the super chats. Those get posted nice and loud. But I do have 2 chats going. I got a chat. I got the vertical chat. I got the horizontal chat. I have the X chat. So lots of chats. Yeah, I don't think we missed any crypto talk there. I was hoping they would press him on the crypto thing. Like, hey, Kamala said that she was going to be looking to not change anything from the Biden admin. I thought we were going to be more pro crypto here, but no questions on that. $40 times? Adam, I am calling cap. I'm scrolling through the chat right now, brother. Ooh. I'm scrolling through the chat right now. Said, why are you avoiding my comment? Then before that, you said, please talk on this. And then you said Mickle with question marks. Mickle with periods. Still scrolling. You froze for 20 seconds. Bonus member milestone. Bonus member milestone chat won't send either. Bonus member. No, I'm just too far here. Oh. Well, just ask your question again. I'm looking at the chat now. Hold up.
25. Bitcoin still over 60.
62.
Did you see
63?
the news from HBO about who may be Satoshi Nakamoto?
No.
I saw some. He looked like an average guy.
We'll tell you about it tomorrow.
Yeah.
Make sure you join us then. Squawk on the Street begins right now.
Did
Good Wednesday morning. Welcome to Squawk on the Street. I'm Carl Quintanilla with Jim Cramer, David Faber at Post.
Nah, no squawk on the street for us. I want to play some of this Metal Law Man interview. This is really good.
Christy, great to see you. Looking forward to the discussion.
Yeah, so you must be psychic because you actually predicted the SEC's latest move. But before we jump into that, I just kind of want to do a quick recap of the Ripple case. So
Really quick. That was expedited treatment that involved the President of the United States at the time, Donald Trump, as well as the House of Representatives, and enforcement of a subpoena. And I was involved in that. And that one went really, really quick. It went from the Southern District of New York to the Second Circuit Court of Appeals to the United States Supreme Court hearing and decision, all in less than 1 year. So that's not normal. We're going to be on the normal track here with the Ripple. And the normal track is once you file this very short notice saying, hey, I intend to appeal, then you have 2 weeks, 14 days to fill out a form that's kind of a generic form of who are the lawyers involved, what's being appealed. And then you have to identify specifically the issues that you are going to be appealing. And so that's kind of the next interesting thing that we're looking for. It'll come 14 days from when they filed the notice of appeal last week. And then we'll know. And, you know, my guess originally was that they were going to appeal the determination that those trades on the secondary market initiated by Ripple or the senior executives or the senior executives are investment contracts. Judge Torres ruled no. The SEC says yes, they are, and that I think is a extremely likely issue number one on appeal. And issue number two on appeal will be the zero out of disgorgement, which was not a surprise given the fact that the Second Circuit Court of Appeals at the end of last year ruled that you must have victims who have suffered pecuniary loss. That means lost money in order to have an award of disgorgement. And the SEC didn't have that. It was kind of shocking, really, to engage in 4 years of litigation and the quote unquote victims, the investors that the SEC is representing, have no losses at all. And these are big institutions. The ones who are hurt, we all know, are the retail XRP holders. So the retail investors were damaged by this litigation by the SEC. And even the big boy hedge funds and wholesalers were not harmed at all. To me, it was embarrassing for the institution that they brought the case in the first place. But so the two issues on appeal will be what I said: the trades on the exchange and the disgorgement decision. Now there's a little wrinkle on disgorgement, and so now we're getting like into advanced law school. I taught law school classes. This is advanced. So a panel, meaning 3 judges of the Second Circuit Court of Appeals, ruled in a case called Goville that there cannot be disgorgement unless there are losses. The victims of the securities violations have suffered losses. And that ruling put them out of alignment with another Circuit Court of Appeals, the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals. So when this case goes up and the SEC's appealing this, a different panel is not going to contradict the Goville panel of 3 judges, but there are something on the order of 20 judges at the Second Circuit Court of Appeals. So what I expect to happen, and we can just bookmark this, I guess, what I expect to happen is they will lose again on the disgorgement, and then they're going to ask for a rehearing en banc of the entirety of the judges on the Second Circuit to reconsider the, Goville really, as well as its application by Judge Torres. And this is the part where the XR people are really going to hate me. When they probably lose there also, there's only one move left, and that's to go to the United States Supreme Court about this disgorgement issue. So that is a possibility that it plays all the way out like that. So we're going to get identified the two or more. There's a third possible item to appeal, and that is the amount of the penalty. I think this would be a very, very weak argument because the judge has a lot of discretion, and she actually followed kind of a formula that exists out there saying how much you could charge somebody for a violation of the securities laws, and she followed that. She followed the section that says there's no fraud. It's not reckless here. It's kind of, a garden variety. Okay, technical violation here. And she just multiplied the number of issuances of securities, and then by the penalty amount came up with 125 million. So it's possible they'll try that third one, but I kind of don't think so.
And I mean,
so there we have what the SEC is appealing according to Meta Lawman, one being the disgorgement, which actually seems like the biggest thing going forward here because the SEC has to prove that people were hurt. They didn't prove that people were hurt, and that's a big issue for the SEC in future cases. So that's the thing he thinks could go to the Supreme Court. The other thing is the programmatic sales on exchanges. That's another thing, also probably a pretty weak case. He'll talk about that more. And then the third thing is the penalty, but it doesn't seem like he thinks the penalty is going to be something that they're going to be able to really bring up. Now he's going to talk about the cross appeal by Ripple.
Disgorgement, obviously, if they were in any other circuit, this could have played out very differently. But because they're in the Second Circuit, do you anticipate that they will fight tooth and nail on that disgorgement?
It's a big deal for the SEC. So for my entire career, and I practiced securities law for a long time, the SEC did not have to show any pecuniary losses in order to get disgorgement from a defendant. And so this is a big change, and it makes their job harder. And in particular, it takes away this threat. So a lot of what the SEC does is settle. And they have threats. Look, here's how much you're going to have to pay if you go to trial. And here's, and you go figure out how much you're going to pay in attorney's fees. And it's really expensive. And we're going to nail you with disgorgement. And then a penalty on top of that, make you, settle, make your life easy. So if they take that tool away in situations where there are no losses, then they're weakened in their enforcement program. And so, yes, I would not be surprised for them to take it all the way to the Supreme Court. Wow.
Okay. So I was actually surprised, maybe from a layman's standpoint, that the SEC was going to bother appealing. They're just involved in so much other crypto litigation. It's an election year. There's so many other things going on that I was surprised that they were bothering. But, you called it. And, Ripple also weighed in on, they gave a public reaction to the appeal. Both Brad and Stu have tweeted about how they are feeling about this whole thing. And one of the things that they brought up was that they're evaluating whether or not to file a cross appeal. And I'm just curious what you think about that possibility.
So I am a very big fan of bringing a cross appeal in this case. And by the way, I didn't give my traditional disclaimer. Obviously, I'm just popping off from the cheap seats and giving my 2 cents. It's not legal advice, and nobody should ever in their right mind make investment decisions based on anything the Meta Lawman says or tweets or whatever, obviously. But I'm a really big fan of cross appeal here, and I am in a small minority of people. I believe that the contracts where they sold XRP to institutions are not investment contracts. And I think there aren't a lot of people who agree with me on that, and that's fine. I don't care. That's kind of how I've been in my whole career, an outlier. But here's why. When these entities bought XRP at wholesale prices, meaning less than what it was trading for on retail exchanges, that was their objective, to make money as a wholesaler, just like any other wholesaler buys. Let's take an example. How about this one, Christy? How about oranges? What if somebody went to the W.J. Howie Company in 1946 and said, hey, man, I hear you're going to be harvesting an enormous amount of oranges. Sell them to me, and I will go and sell them to grocery stores all over the country or whatever. And I'm going to make a markup on the oranges. Well, the wholesaler's not going into business with W.J. Howie. The wholesaler's not sharing profits with Howie. They're simply receiving the commodity at a discount and going to make a profit selling it to retail. The difference between what they bought it for and what they sold it for is not an investment in the W.J. Howie Company. And therefore, that everybody in their right mind would agree that's no investment contract. Well, in my opinion, that's what we've got with XRP and these sales to institutions. They were buying the XRP at a discount to sell to retail at a markup. They were not investing in Ripple, in the Ripple business, and sharing in the profits of Ripple. How do I know that? I know it for sure because there is a way to do that, and that's called buying stock in Ripple. Ripple is a private company, and you can buy shares on these exchanges that are doing secondary market trades for like employees or others who may have acquired shares in Ripple over the years. You can invest in a Ripple, and that would be a securities transaction. But buying the commodity XRP at a discount for resale to retail and a markup is not investing in Ripple. I believe that very strongly, and I know nobody agrees with me because you have a contract, okay? You have a contract where it feels like there's an investment being made in the sense that Ripple is receiving money, for the XRP, and they're going to use the money to build, the Ripple infrastructure and the ledger and, talk to governments around the world about adoption and invest in the quote unquote SEC's favorite term ecosystem of Ripple and XRP ledger and ODL and all of that good stuff. That's true. But you know what? If you buy a bunch of oranges from Howie, Howie's going to buy fertilizer and more land and grow and pay people and grow their business. It does not matter.
Yeah.
So, in my opinion, I would like to see Ripple cross appeal and say those transactions with the institutions, even though there were written contracts, were not investment contracts because we were simply selling to wholesalers a commodity that they made money on a markup to retail. You can use other examples like diamonds. Diamonds is a good example. So for instance, a wholesaler could go to the De Beers company, which kind of has a monopoly worldwide on diamonds. And De Beers might say to the wholesaler, okay, we're going to sell you a bunch of diamonds below, what they sell for at Jared and Zales and whatever. And then you could sell to retail. However, we don't want you to sell them all at one time. We want you to agree to hold on to them for a while because we want to manage the level of availability of diamonds around the world, which is exactly what De Beers does. Those restrictions, which Judge Chora has called out in her opinion, doesn't change anything. They don't change anything. It's still a wholesaler buying a commodity to make a markup when it's sold to retail. And it's not an investment contract. Those buyers of the diamonds are not investing in De Beers. They're not going to share in the profits of the mining operation around in Africa and all around the world. These are two different things. And I believe that and again, I'm in the minority here. I believe Ripple's got a pretty good argument that those are not investment contracts. And therefore, the SEC never had any jurisdiction over any aspect of this entire situation.
I think that's a compelling argument. I think it's an interesting.
So that's really interesting there, because one of the things that we've constantly said is like, hey, those sales to institutions are probably securities, but it looks like Metalaw Man is actually taking the other side of that. I want to interrupt this real quick because we do have some breaking news I want to get into. This just dropped, and I will be able to pull it up in un momento. Super interesting to see that though. Metalaw Man actually thinks the SEC Ripple could have some really good success on a cross appeal. So here we go. This is just out of Cointelegraph. Palau launches a blockchain platform for digital savings bonds and is partnering with Ripple to create a digital pegged stablecoin for its citizens. So it looks like Palau is moving forward with both a savings bond and a digital currency with Ripple. Very exciting to see this. It shows that Ripple's initial pilots on this have been very successful. And it looks like this might be one of the first CBDCs, sort of digital currency projects on a public network. So very cool to see that. It's amazing that some people can't see that as massive progress in terms of Ripple the company and the XRP ledger. But that news just dropped here, so wanted to make sure you guys saw that. Let me just double check and make sure there's nothing else dropping here. That seems to be the big news at the moment. Oh, and I'm sorry. Oh yeah, we did already talk about that. All right, let's jump back into this interview with Metalaw Man.
I agree with you that it's worth shooting their shot. Definitely interesting. That's a good one.
So you want to talk about timing? So they've got 2 weeks. So we're going to find out pretty quickly on the cross appeal, and it's 2 weeks from something called the delivery of the transcript. Now, normally, if you have a trial, a transcript of, all the testimony of the trial and the exhibits, getting all that together takes time. But when you don't have a trial, you just have cross summary judgment and an oral argument, and that's it, and no witnesses. It's very quick. And so the transcript in this case was transmitted the day after the SEC did their notice of appeal. So, the Ripple's got 2 weeks to file their notice of cross appeal, and then they'll have some time to identify what issues they will cross appeal on. But in my view, there's no real downside to doing that and to putting pressure on the SEC so that they understand that they have some real risk as well. It's not just, hey, upside, maybe we get Judge Torres overturned on those 2 items that we talked about before, but they've got some real downside that the whole case could come out from under them, in which case there'd be no penalty because there'd be no securities violations if I'm correct, and those contracts are wholesale agreements. You asked about timing. This is a little weird. You can sort of pick your day to submit your brief. As an appellant, last few letters are A-N-T. Appellant means the person who went first and appealed. You're the appellant, and then the other party is the appellee. And so once you get the transcript, you have, and it's transmitted to the Second Circuit, which they're in the same building down there in Lower Manhattan. You have up to 91 days to file your brief. And what you do is the appellant tells the court when they're going to file their brief. And if it's less than 91 days, the court says that's fine and dandy. And then once that happens, after that first brief is filed, then the appellee gets 2 weeks to look at the brief and then tell the court, here's when we're going to file our responsive brief. Not less than 91 days from that. And then the final shot from the appellant is called the reply brief. And that one's pretty much firm at 21 days from the appellee's brief. So you got 90 90, 21, Rotolo, whatever that adds up to, a couple hundred days. But it can be longer. And in this case, I think that we're going to see a lot of amicus briefs filed. I could be wrong, but I think we will. I mean, Coinbase has clearly signaled this Ripple case is extremely important. We want our, interlocutory appeal from our own case granted so that we can get on the Second Circuit docket at the same time as Ripple. But even if that does not happen, you're going to have a bunch of players in the crypto industry weigh in on behalf of Ripple. And one of the things that we really, really, really need to see is members of Congress getting together and filing briefs. And I mean both Republicans and Democrats. And what I've called for is for Richie Torres and Ro Khanna and the rest of them to gather together their friends who are not hostile to crypto and submit a brief on behalf of Ripple. That the Second Circuit will give that a lot of weight. And certainly industry players for sure will weigh in as well. So that could delay things a little bit, but the rule of thumb is it's going to be a little over a year. So, my guess would be first quarter of 2026 would be the decision in the case, because after the briefing is done, could be a couple of months before there's a hearing, an oral argument, and then there's no telling how long they might take to issue a decision. Could be 6 months, could be 3 months, could be a year. But so my guess is somewhere in the neighborhood of first quarter 2026, we will see a decision. Now, there are other things that could happen. We have an election coming up, which if Gary Gensler is deposed because Donald Trump wins, or, John Deaton knocks off Elizabeth Warren and her power disappears and the fear that other Democrats have of her power goes away, nobody thinks this is great, what's happening with all this crazy litigation that is forcing innovation out of the United States. And so we could see one of two things. One, Gary Gensler resigns or is fired and is replaced by somebody who is not looking to kill crypto and execute his or her portion of the overall Operation Choke Point 2.0. They want no part of it. They're going to do what's right. And what's right would probably be to settle or dismiss these cases, or at a minimum, stop the cases until Congress has ruled who gets jurisdiction over crypto. It's silly to ask judges to make these decisions when there's already legislation percolating that would say the SEC does not have authority over this industry. A number of things could happen, and I think there's probably better than a 50% chance that something happens to change the dynamics such that we could see these cases come to a close before the first quarter of 2026.
Okay. To your point, I watched bits and pieces of the recent SEC oversight hearing. And there's this hunger for clarity, and the commissioners claim that, definitely need it as well. But, Congress is like, would it be beneficial for it to be statutory? And they hem and haw. And to me, it would seem like Congress should make the laws and then the agency can go out and enforce them. It feels like the SEC is profiting off of the lack of clarity, and you can see that they're, depending on which case you're looking at, see the different arguments that they're making that are inconsistent. They will literally make the opposite argument to fit each case, and it's so frustrating to watch that as someone that they claim to be protecting. I just see our resources going the wrong direction when we do have legislation that could solve this and could bring or keep innovation in America and let us move forward. And
so, guys, that was the best parts of that. It was kind of just breaking down what are the next steps according to Meta Lawman. I've had the chance to meet Meta Lawman. He's an incredible guy. He's someone who's very intelligent. He's a former securities lawyer as well, so he's not someone who's a legal expert who's looking to expand their knowledge on securities law. He is someone who's very, very educated there, and I think that's why his opinion about how Ripple's institutional sales aren't securities either. We have to be considering it's possible in my eyes that if the SEC does play this out, they could really shoot themselves in the foot here and put themselves in a position where they actually lose on issues they had previously won. I think Meta Lawman makes a great point here. If I sell you a bunch of salsa at Costco and give you a discount on that salsa over market price, it doesn't make that salsa a security, right? It's completely irrelevant. The salsa itself wasn't a security, and you're not expecting me to create any kind of increase in the price of that salsa. What you're doing is you're just buying cheap salsa and getting a discount because you're buying a lot of it. So really important to understand there. I think Meta Lawman makes some great points, as well as breaking down that it actually is very possible we see a change in the administration, and that causes an earlier end to this case than previously expected. It's nice to see all that playing out. Guys, with that said, I'm going to cut it off here. Thank you so much for coming, guys. You guys are all incredible. We will talk more later today. Appreciate you guys all so much. No morning live stream Friday. No morning live stream. Morning live stream will be up and running tomorrow. Do we get CPI tomorrow? We should get, yeah, we do get CPI tomorrow. So tomorrow's going to be a big day. We'll jump on those CPI numbers. Will be nice to kind of have that to discuss after a slower week. I think a lot of the market has been waiting to see what these numbers are prior to getting overly excited. Guys, thank you so much for coming. You guys are all incredible. I'll talk to you.